Hi subscribers, welcome to our channel. This is Kishore Palavarsa. Please subscribe our channel. If anyone not subscribed till now, please subscribe as well as please support to me. Okay, as well as please encourage to me for the new different types of new concepts. Okay, today we are going to discussing about types of semiconductors. Okay, types of semiconductors, which is very useful for the both technical peoples as well as non-technical peoples also. Okay, very important concept. Okay, so today we are now going to discussing about types of semiconductors. Okay, so coming to the semiconductors, basically, so which is classified into two types. Okay, one is the intrinsic semiconductor. One is the intrinsic semiconductor, and second one is the extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so basically here, so according to the so collision or colliding of both holes and electrons, and electrons from the conduction band to valence band, or else valence band to conduction band. So the semiconductors can be classified into two types. One is the intrinsic semiconductor and second one is the extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so these are the two types. Okay, so coming to the intrinsic semiconductor means, so which is the pure semiconductor, Okay, so here pure semiconductor means here, so let us consider taken for the best example for the both germanium as well as silicon. Okay, both germanium as well as silicon is the both are the two pure semiconductors. Okay, so actually coming for the germanium, the value of germanium is 0.3 as well as the value of silicon is 0.7. The value of silicon is 0.7. Okay, so this is the value for the both germanium as well as silicon. So 0.3 and 0.7. Okay, so let us consider, so coming to the intrinsic semiconductor, which is the pure semiconductor. Okay, here we cannot use it to the any type of external impurities, are else called as like a doping parameters. We are not adding to the in case of intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so because which is pure semiconductor, so that pure semiconductor can be simply, if you want to place in the room temperature, or else if you want to give the some external supply with the help of battery, then only both holes and electrons which is collide into each other, resultant output DC current will be producing. So for the semiconductor basic concepts, already we are learning the previous sessions. So if you have any maybe doubt may contents, please go through the previous classes. Okay, so you can clearly clarify. Otherwise, if you don't clarify that above previous sessions, so please put on the comment. I will give the answer to reply. Okay, so that is the semiconductor concept. So here, so both coming to the intrinsic, this is the pure semiconductor. In this we are not adding to the any type of doping parameters. Okay, here first of all let us consider for the, so this is like a semiconductor metal. Okay, the semiconductor may contains basically two bands. One is the valence band, and second one is the conduction band. Already know that, I think. Okay, so in the valence band may contains some valence electrons, and the conduction band may contains some different types of holes. Okay, this is the basic representation for the semiconductor. Either intrinsic or eccentric, whatever may be that. So basically we have to represent to the like this, the representation of semiconductor material diagram. Okay, so in between, so those material some gap is there, so which is the separate to the both two bands, that is called as some simple you can call it as like a forbidden gap, or also called as like a energy gap, simply you can call it as, okay, an energy gap. Okay, so coming to the here, Okay, coming to the intrinsic, here the only some gap is there. Okay, that is very small. Okay, so if you want to replace to the if you want to place to the in room temperature, or else if you want to give the some external supply with the help of battery, some external supply with the help of battery to the both valence band as well as conduction band. So then only, so in the valence band some electrons is there, in the free electrons. In the conduction band some holes is there, both are colliding. Whenever supply is given to the both to some, then only which is energized to the both electrons and holes. So resultant which is colliding to each other, so the output will be current will be coming, the outputs some current, so that is like a DC current will be coming. Okay, so that is the coming to the intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so this is the pure semiconductor. We doesn't add to the any external impurities. Okay, impurities. Okay, so that is like either trivalent impurities or like a pentavalent impurities, whatever may be that. We cannot add it to the any type of impurities to the intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so now let us go for the extrinsic semiconductor. Let us go for the extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so the extrinsic semiconductor is not pure semiconductor. The extrinsic semiconductor is not pure semiconductor. Why? Because so in this we can add it to the different types of impurities, as well as between the conduction band and valence band there are more energy gap is there. There are more energy gap, or else some forbidden gap is there. So that's why here we have to adding to the some external impurities. Impurities are also called as like a doping parameters. We are adding to the extrinsic semiconductor. Then only it is acts as like a so total conduction path to the between the both valence band as well as conduction band. Resultant output current will be producing. Resultant output current will be producing. Okay, let us come into the extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, let us come into the extrinsic semiconductor. So this is the not pure semiconductor. Okay, so basically in the extrinsic semiconductor there are two types according to the adding of doping. According to the adding of doping or else some impurities, there are two types. Okay, one is the n type semiconductor. One is the n type semiconductor. Okay, one is the n type semiconductor in the extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, one is the n type and second one is the p type semiconductor. Second one is the p type semiconductor. So these are the two types which is consisting in the extrinsic semiconductor. Which is consisting in the extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so let us come in for the n type semiconductor. Let us come in for the n type semiconductor. Okay, so in the n type semiconductor what happened here? In the n type semiconductor basically, okay, so coming to the n type, so the pentavalent impurities, the small pentavalent impurities, okay, the small pentavalent impurities which is added to the pure semiconductor. Okay, which is added to the pure semiconductor. Okay, so means whenever the small pentavalent impurities which is added to the pure semiconductor, then only it is called as n type semiconductor material. Then only it is called as n type semiconductor materials. Okay, so here the small pentavalent impurities. Go ahead. The small pentavalent. Here pentavalent means fifth group elements. Pentavalent means penta means fifth. Okay, fifth group of elements is called as pentavalent impurities. Okay, so these are the doping parameters. These are the doping parameters. Okay, so fifth group elements which is added to the pure semiconductor. So pure semiconductor, let us example already we have say that just now. So that is example like a either germanium or silicon. Either germanium or like a silicon. Okay, either germanium Ge or silicon Si. Okay, we have to take into the both two are the take into the pure semiconductor material. Both are the account to take as a pure semiconductor material. These are the best example for the pure semiconductor material. Okay, so coming to the here n type semiconductor. So the pentavalent impurities, one of the pentavalent impurities which is added to the pure semiconductor material, then only it is called as n type semiconductor. So then only what happened here? So both holes and electrons which is colliding, whenever adding these impurities, different types of impurities means fifth group of elements, whenever these impurities which is added to the one pure semiconductor, then only both holes and electrons which is colliding, resultant output will be producing. Resultant output DC current will be producing. Otherwise we can't produce it to the DC current without any different types of impurities or else like a doping parameters. Okay, added to the pure semiconductor. Okay, so let us come for the fifth group elements. Okay, in this basically the best example we have to take as a like a arsenic. Okay, let us consider arsenic, arsenic, arsenic. Let us take, and we have to take like a bismuth, okay, like bismuth, okay, and also we have to take to the different types like antimony, like antimony, okay. These are the different types of material which is taken to the example, for the best example for the fifth group of elements, okay. One is the arsenic, bismuth and antimony, okay. These are the fifth group elements examples, okay. Here let us take into the example is for the pure semiconductor. So basically you have to take into the, okay, basically either germanium or silicon. So here for simple representation, basically we have to take into the, for the banding diagram, for the banding representation, let us take as silicon here. What are maybe that? So if any material we have to take, so basically either germanium or silicon basically may contain to the 4 valence electrons, basically which is may contains to the valence electrons may contains 4, okay. 4 valence electrons may contains to the both germanium as well as silicon, okay. So basically for example let us coming for the silicon, okay. So here taking as a silicon here, this is Si, this is as Si, like this is silicon. So here we have to represent to the banding diagram, okay, banding diagram. So the banding diagram may contains like this. The silicon may contains to the different types of bandings to the other different types of silicon materials, means one to each other, which is like a bonding representation, okay. So here taking to the silicon number of materials here, there, this is the one of the silicon and this is the one of the silicon. We have to take into the representation for the drawing of representation, okay. So this is the one of the silicon material and this is the one of the silicon material, okay. And we have to take the representation different types. Let us consider we have to draw the number of silicon type of materials, okay. Okay, we have to take like this Si, okay, Si, okay. This may contains bond into one silicon material to another silicon material, okay, like this. Like this, bonding to one to another, like this, okay. Like this bonding, okay. So here basically coming to the valence electrons for the both germanium or silicon, which is same, that is given as 4, basically that is given as 4 valence electrons, 4 valence electrons. So that's why the valence electrons which is may contains to the each particular orbit, okay. So one valence electrons here there, so total will be the 4. So one valence electron which is may contains, so one side of the bond, and the another valence electron may contains one side of the bond, and another valence electrons may contains one side of the bond, okay. So totally here the silicon may contains only 4, okay, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, okay. Here 4 valence electrons which is placed to the, so which is added to the silicon, okay. Why? Because the silicon may contains 4 valence electrons basically, okay. This is the pure semiconductor, okay. So whenever we are adding to the fifth group of elements, so that is we are saying here, okay, when we are adding fifth group of elements like antimony, bismuth, some all those different types of things. So a fifth group of elements means here we are adding to the 5 electrons. Here fifth group of elements we are generally meaning as we are adding to the 5 electrons, okay. Already here 1 2 3 4 electrons is there already. All those different types of semiconductor silicon material may contains 4 electrons is already is there, okay. All those different types of combinations, 1 2 3 4, okay, 1 2, okay, 3 4, 1 2 3 4, like this, 1 2 3 4, like this, 1 2 3 4, like this. There are different types of bonds is there. 4 valence electrons may contain to the all different types of pure semiconductor material like silicon, okay. But here whenever we are adding to the fifth group of elements, here fifth group means here may contains 4 valence electrons, 4 valency electrons, okay. So means see either valence electrons or holes. Here either valence electrons or holes, we can justify it according to from the representation. We can justify it according to this bonding representation. We can simply say that what is the majority carriers in type of n-type material, as well as what are the minority carriers in n-type material, as well as what is the majority carriers in p-type material, as well as what is the minority carriers in p-type material. All those representation we have to justify according to this bonding diagrams, according to this bonding diagram. Okay, let us see now here. Okay, so here 1 2 3 4 4 valence electrons is there. So first of all, coming to the here, so all those representation which is basically discussing about n-type material. Okay, please remember that, very important. N-type material here we are discussing. So fifth group of elements. So here may contains, fifth group of elements may contains 5 valence electrons. So electrons or holes, whatever may be that, we can't say that exactly. So here 5. Okay, 5 elements is there. 5 valence electrons or holes is there. So 1 2 3 4 already is there. Another valence electron is already extra will be there. Why? Because here fifth group of elements. Fifth group means 5 group. 1 2 3 4 already completed to all those. We can so add in here. So one electron here there. This is one electron is there. This is one element is adding. This is one element is adding. But another element is there. Why? Because here fifth element is there. So that element is we can have to place to the outermost of the particular semiconductor material. Outermost of the particular orbit. Simply we can call it as outermost of the orbit of the silicon material. Okay. So this is the extra element is it will be there at the all material. At the all material, some extra element is there. Why? Because here fifth group of 5 elements is there, but here 4 elements is existing. We have to replace here, but one element is excessive is there. Okay, one element is excessive is there. So means one element is highly extra is there. So that's why in all semiconductor bonding materials, which is extra element is there. So that's why here this element is. This remaining element is called as here according to from this. So this the electron is in the higher is there. So that's why according to from this bonding diagram here the majority carries is electrons. Here the majority carries is electron. Okay. So simply we can say that if suppose outermost of the orbit, if any element is remaining is there, that is called as basically electron. Otherwise, if suppose in the particular orbits, all those orbits bonding may contains any gap is there, or any loop may contains empty, or any band may contains empty, then only we can say that the holes is the majority carries. We can say that like that representation. Okay. So first of all, going to here outermost of the orbit, one element is excessive. One element is excessive. That's why here n-type semiconductor material. Okay, n-type semiconductor material, electrons is the majority carriers. When compared to the holes. In case of n-type semiconductor material. From this, according to the bonding representation, all those different types of materials, here excessive is the one electron will be there. Why? Because 4 electrons we have to place to the 4 places, but another is the excessive. So that's why from this diagram, electrons is the majority carriers in the n-type semiconductor material. Okay, n-type semiconductor material. Okay, let us now we are going to go for the next one is the p-type semiconductor material. Okay, because in extrinsic semiconductor there are two types. One is the n-type and second one is the p-type. So let's now we are going to discussing about p-type semiconductor material. I think you are understood what I am saying here. Okay, so next we are going to discussing about p-type semiconductor material. So coming to the p-type semiconductor material. Okay, so basically the p-type semiconductor material which is acted as a whenever the small impurities, means we are trivalent. Whenever the trivalent impurities which is added to the pure semiconductor. Okay, whenever the trivalent impurities which is added to the pure semiconductor, then only generally acts as a p-type semiconductor material. Then only produced as a p-type semiconductor material. Okay, so whenever the trivalent impurities, so trivalent means here trivalent. Okay, trivalent, T-R-I-V-A-L-E-N-T, trivalent. Here trivalent means third group of elements. Trivalent means tri means third group of elements. Okay, third group of elements. So whenever trivalent impurities which is added to the pure semiconductor means already know that. Let us good examples for the like either germanium or silicon, like germanium, either silicon or germanium, whatever may be that. Okay, so let us for the representation of bonding diagram, basically we have to take as a silicon, whatever may be that we have to take. Okay, anyone is the same. Because all those may contains basically 4 valence electrons. Okay, let us consider for the consideration like a silicon material here also. Okay, like a silicon. Whatever may be that, you have to draw the different types of bonding diagrams. Okay, silicon, silicon. Okay, so like this bonding. Okay, like this we have to represent to the all those we have to represent it like this. Okay, here what happened here is there, let's now we have to see here. Okay, so coming to the here, so this is the representation for the silicon material representation, silicon pure semiconductor representation here. Okay, whenever trivalent impurities, so trivalent means third group. So let us for the best example for the trivalent impurities is like a germanium, not germanium. So like a best example is like a either boron. Okay, like a boron, very important, which is very important, like a boron. Let us, we can take the different types like a gallium, boron, like a gallium, or else like a indium. We have to take into the different types of examples for the third group of elements. In that, some of the examples like boron, gallium, indium. So these are the best examples for the third group of elements. Means trivalent impurities. All those. Okay. So whenever which is adding to the pure semiconductor, whenever which is adding to the both boron and gallium and indium, anyone which is adding to the either silicon or germanium, means which is pure semiconductor. Whenever adding trivalent impurities which is adding to the pure semiconductor, then only produced as a p-type semiconductor material. Okay, which is very important concept. Okay, so let us now we are adding to the these either boron or gallium or indium which is added to the pure semiconductor material. Okay, let us know, we have to see what happened here. Okay, so now, so coming to the here, first of all, basically may contains the silicon may contains basically 4 valence electrons. Already know that the silicon may contains 4 valence electrons. Okay, so one is there, and another one is in this bonding is there, and fourth one is there. One is there, second one, third one, fourth one is there. 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Okay, 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, like this. 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, like this. We have to represent it to the all bands. We have to represent to the 4 valence electrons for the pure semiconductor. Okay, so these are the valence electrons. Why? Because the silicon may contain different types of valence electrons, means 4 valence electrons. We have to represent it to the all those total banding diagram here. Okay, so coming to the trivalent impurities. Okay, when are trivalent impurities which is added to the pure semiconductor. So trivalent means either boron or gallium. So tri means here 3. So the valence electrons totally may contain only 3 valence electrons. So in case of p-type semiconductor material, the valence electrons which is may contain only 3. The valence electrons which is may contain only 3. So that's why that 3 elements are valence electrons which is replaced to the in that particular semiconductors, pure semiconductor material. Okay, so for example, let us consider here one electron valence electron is placing, and another valence electrons here also placing. Okay, and another valence electrons also here placing, but another coming to the another bond which is also like a gap is there, but another valence electron in the band of the pure semiconductor material, here some gap is there, because here we can't place into the any type of extra valence electron. Why? Because the p-type material may contain only trivalent impurities. Tri means here 3 valence impurities only. That's why. So one here placed, second one is this is placed here placed, third one here placed, and fourth one is the empty. Okay, so that's why according to all those here also we have to plate. For example, let us come into the this bonding. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Here one also gap is there. So coming to this bonding diagram, let us consider take into the different types of examples. No problem. Okay, one is there, second one is there, third one is there, and the other one is the gap is there, like this. Coming to the here. So one is there, second one is there, third one is there, fourth one is the gap, like this. So all those different types of conditions, all those here the gap is there. Gap means circle, like a hole is there. Like a gap means here hole is there. So that's why according to from the representation of total bonding diagram, in case of p-type semiconductor material, the majority carriers are the holes. Okay, the majority carriers are the holes, which is very important concept. Okay, for the both non-technical as well as technical all aspects. Okay, as well as for the general peoples also, we have to learn all those things concepts. Very important. Okay, for the next future generation also. Okay, so this is the, so according from this, some gap is there. That gap is called as holes. Okay, that gap is called as holes. The gap is created to the every pure semiconductor material, at every pure semiconductor material. So from the whenever we have to go for the bondings to one pure semiconductor to another pure semiconductor. Okay, so this gap is called as hole. So in the p-type material, basically the holes is the majority carriers according to the bonding diagram when compared to the electrons. So simply in p-type material, holes is the majority carriers as well as electrons is the minority carriers. We can simply say that from this. As well as in case of n-type semiconductor material, okay, in n-type basically the electrons is the majority carriers as well as the holes is the minority carriers as well as. So from that n-type bonding diagram, from that n-type bonding diagram representation. Okay, so this is the total semiconductor material types, both intrinsic and extrinsic. So as well as coming to the extrinsics, in the extrinsic basically two types, one is the p-type and second one is the n-type. All those things today we are learning. Okay, I think you are understood what I am saying. Okay, if you have any doubt, please put on the comment, as well as please see the video up to ending. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask me, I mean in terms of comment. Okay, so this is the today class, subscribers. Okay, for more videos as well as for more information, please go through daily our channel, please go through visit. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can put on the comment. Please don't forget, I will give the reply to any type of questions. Okay, as well as please encourage to me, I need your support. Thank you and all. Thank you.